Rain lashed against the corrugated metal of the wrecked atmospheric processor, each drop a tiny drumbeat against Lieutenant Jessa Chen's skull. She awoke to the metallic tang of rain, and the lingering ache of a blow to the head. Disorientation clung to her like the damp chill seeping through her fatigues. Reyes hovered above her, his face a mask of nervous apprehension. "Lieutenant?" he asked, his voice shaky. "You're awake?" Jessa blinked, trying to focus. The last thing she remembered was Thorne's eyes, vacant and serene, as he's ushered Silva into the forest. Then the blinding flash, the jarring impact. "What happened?" she rasped, pushing herself up against the wall. Her head swam. "Silva, he was taken," Reyes said, swollen hard. By them. Jessa's stomach clenched. Thorne hadn't stopped her. He's facilitated it. "Thorne." Reyes glanced over his shoulder, a flicker of fear in his eyes. He said it was necessary. For the harmony. Harmony. That was the word Thorne had used. A terrifying, hollow word that echoed the serenity in his eyes. Jessa felt a surge of nausea. Thorne was gone. Something else inhabited his body, speaking through his mouth. She struggled to her feet, ignoring the dizziness. "Where's Thorne now?" "He's observing," Reyes said, his voice barely above a whisper. "He says he's ensuring the process continues smoothly." The process. The assimilation. The takeover. Chen felt a cold certainty grip her heart. They were facing something more than just hostile aliens. They were facing a systematic conversion, a deliberate reshaping of everything New Eden represented. "Status uncomes?" she asked, needing to focus on something concrete. Reyes shook his head. "Still nothing. The jamming field is persistent. It's like they're controlling the interference. And the perimeter? Unstable. The gravitational distortions are worse than before. Readings are fluctuating wildly near the central plaza." They seemed drawn to it. Jessa knew the central plaza. It was the heart of the old colony, the intended focal point for New Eden's revitalization. Now it was clearly a nexus for the xeno presence, a beacon drawing them in. "We need to get out of here," she said, her voice strained. "This place is a trap. Where can we go?" The forest as Reyes trailed off, unable to voice the obvious danger. "We need higher ground," Jessa said, thinking of the ruins of the old observation tower overlooking the colony. "Maybe we can get a signal from there." They moved cautiously through the wreckage, their footsteps echoing in the eerie silence broken only by the relentless rain. Thorne watched them from the shadows, his face impassive, his eyes reflecting the unnatural green glow emanating from the forest. As they neared the exit, a guttural screech pierced the air. A xeno emerged from the shadows, its jade skin glistening in the rain, its eyes fixated on them. It moved with an unsettling grace, its limbs contorting in unnatural ways. "Contact!" Reyes yelled, fumbling for his pulse rifle. Jessa reacted instinctively, firing her own weapon. The xeno staggered, but didn't fall. They were tougher than she's anticipated, more coordinated. Another xeno appeared, then another, emerging from the forest like phantoms. They moved with a disturbing synchronicity, anticipating her every move. "Fall back! Fall back!" Jessa shouted, but it was too late. They were surrounded. Suddenly, Thorne stepped out of the shadows, raising his hand in a gesture of pacification. The xenos paused, their movements becoming even more synchronized. "There's no need for violence," Thorne said, his voice calm and soothing. "Resistance is futile. Embrace the harmony." Jessa felt a surge of rage and despair. Thorne was betraying them. He was welcoming his executioners. She lunged at him, but the xeno intercepted her, its hand clamping around her arm with surprising strength. "Don't!" Reyes cried, raising his weapon, but he hesitated. He was terrified, paralyzed by the sheer strangeness of the situation. The xeno twisted its grip, forcing Jessa to her knees. Thorne approached her, his eyes devoid of any emotion. "You cannot fight what you do not understand," he said, his voice a hollow echo of the man she once knew. As he spoke, Jessa noticed something new. A subtle tremor in the ground, a low humming sound that resonated deep within her bones. She looked up and saw it. A faint shimmer in the air, growing stronger with each passing second. A colossal structure, almost invisible against the stormy sky, began to materialize. A monolith, a towering obsidian obelisk that seemed to absorb all light and sound. "What is that?" Reyes whispered, his voice trembling. "That is our destiny," Thorne said, his gaze fixed on the monolith. The monolith pulsed with a sickly green light. The xenos began to chant, their voices rising in a hypnotic drone. Jessa felt a strange pressure building in her head, a feeling of being connected to something vast and alien. She fought against it, desperately clinging to her sanity. She thought of her team, of the mission, of everything she was fighting for. But the pressure was overwhelming. She felt her consciousness slipping away. Then, everything went black. When Jessa regained consciousness, the rain had stopped. The sky was a sickly green color. She was lying on the ground, surrounded by xenos. Thorne stood over her, his face serene. "Welcome," he said. "You are home." Reyes was nowhere to be seen.